Constantine I was born Flavius Valerius Aurelius Constantinus somewhere around the year 272. Constantine was born in the Moesian city of Nassius to Flavius Constantius, Illyrian native and officer in the Roman army. His mother Helena was a native of Bithynian Drepanum. Constantius was appointed governor of Dalmatia under the emperor Diocletian, who divided his empire into a tetrarchy in 293, appointing junior emperors Constantius and Galerius. Constantius' rule in the east as Caesar was advantageous for the young Constantine, who was the heir to his father's throne and privileged with the best education. He benefited from the open and socially mobile culture of Nicomedia, where he candidly intermingled with Christians and pagans. Constantine became proficient in Latin literature, Greek, and philosophy. He may have seen and been influenced by the lectures of Lactantius, a Christian scholar of Latin. As a prominent participant in the court, Constantine led a political life and witnessed Diocletian's persecutions of Christians. Together with Galerius and Diocletian began a universal persecution and ordered the Christian church at Nicomedia be destroyed, its scriptures set to flame, and all of its treasures collected. This persecution continued for 8 years. Maximian and Constantius did not enforce the harsher stipulations set by Diocletian. After Constantius' death, Constantine was proclaimed Augustus in the west. This was against the plans of Diocletian and Galerius, who ruled in the east. Constantine sent a message to Galerius with a portrait of himself wearing the outfit of Augustus and the imperial wreath. He claimed that his army had forced him to take up the position, and although Galerius was greatly upset over this, Constantine's popular support hindered Galerius from opposing it. Instead of declaring war, Galerius sent him a purple vestment and granted him the title of Caesar. Constantine continued to rise in power as he strengthened his army and his popularity with his people by touring his lands and promoting a free religious culture. He commanded one of the largest armies of the time and was eventually promoted to emperor in the east. When Galerius and Maxentius went to battle over Maxentius' jealousy of Constantine's promotion, Constantine remained neutral and immersed himself in other activities to further promote his reputation. He toured his lands and supported the economy and arts. He gained more recognition and respect for staying out of civil war and built a stable power base in his territory. Around 310, Galerius had become ill and rescinded his policies of Christian persecution. He died soon after, leaving the tetrarchy weakened. Maxentius' power was also weakening as his support dissolved into protest and he resumed taxation. The death of Galerius left two forces, Constantine with Licinius and Maximin with Maxentius. The forces went to battle over who would take control of the empire. Maxentius, expecting an attack from Constantine, gathered his army of approximately 100,000 soldiers. Constantine crossed the Alps with only a quarter of his army, which totaled less than 40,000 men, to battle Maxentius. Constantine marched his army through several villages until he finally met Maxentius in Rome. At the Battle of the Milvian Bridge, Constantine defeated Maxentius to become the ruler of the entire Western Roman Empire. In Lactantius' written account, Constantine was told by God to paint the labarum on his soldiers' shields. In Eusebius' account, which is held in less regard than Lactantius, Constantine had a vision, while praying, of a sign that appeared in the heavens. Regardless of the source of the idea, Constantine's army marched into battle with the sign on their shields and emerged victorious despite their lesser numbers. Many critics believe that this was the beginning of Constantine strengthening his faith in the Christian God and his conversion to Christianity. Constantine continued to expand his power over the rest of the collapsing tetrarchy. He and his ally Licinius met in 313 to declare the Edict of Milan, which granted full tolerance to all religions in the empire, with special benefits for the Christians. The edict restored to the Christians all the property seized during Diocletian's persecutions and repudiated religious coercion. Licinius eventually defeated Maximinus and became the emperor over the eastern half of the Roman Empire. Later, Licinius went back on his word and the Edict of Milan and began another persecution of the Christians that led to a great civil war in 324. Licinius represented the ancient pagan faith, and Constantine warred under the Christian labarum. Constantine emerged victorious and had Licinius executed for plotting against him. Constantine was now the sole emperor over the entire Roman Empire. He began his reign with rebuilding the city of Byzantium and renaming it Nova Roma, or New Rome. He protected his new city with the alleged true cross and the rod of Moses and other holy relics. He replaced figures of the old pagan gods and often assimilated them into Christian symbolism. The Roman Catholic Church's high regard and hailing of the Virgin Mary as a saint is comparative to the Greek goddess Aphrodite and her son Eros. Another example includes the comparison of Christ's ascension to hell to defeat the devil, to Hercules' descent to Hades to battle the Cerberus demon and wrestle it into submission. Constantine introduced a strong Christian religious policy throughout his empire. He announced the toleration of Christianity, removed penalties for professing Christian beliefs, and returned church property. It wasn't until after he was 40 years of age that Constantine declared himself a Christian. Constantine passed laws that enforced his Christian reforms, such as the abolishment of crucifixion. He declared Sunday as the official day of rest, and gave prisoners the right to go outdoors. Constantine also repaired many Christian churches, and while he never outlawed paganism, he forbade repair of their temples. Constantine's rule established a precedent for the role of the emperor in the Christian church. While emperors were responsible for the spiritual guidance of their people, they did not decide religious doctrine. The emperor enforced the doctrine that was decided by the bishops, rooted out heresy, and upheld ecclesiastical unity among their subjects. The first ecumenical council, known as the Council of Nicaea, resulted in the creation of the first uniform Christian doctrine. Constantine fervently sought out uniformity among Christians to unify the beliefs for the whole of Christendom. This was an important act for the emperor that won him much popularity and reverence among his empire. At the time, there was discord over the relationship of Jesus Christ to God the Father. The Arians took the stance that Christ was of a similar substance to God the Father, but that he was not filioque, or the same as the Father. The First Council of Nicaea banned the Arian belief and opened the door to additional councils that indoctrinated other canons. Under Constantine's rule, the council also decided to celebrate the resurrection of Christ on the first Sunday after the full moon following the vernal equinox. The Council of Nicaea was a historically significant event in the history of Christendom, as it was the first effort to attain consensus and the creation of the Nicene Creed. Constantine's presiding over the council also set a standard of imperial control for subsequent councils to create further creeds and canons. During Constantine's reign, adoptionism was also banned by the Roman Catholic Church, and it was agreed upon that Christ was the Holy Son of God from birth. Although not much is for certain, it is speculated that Constantine's mother, Flavia Lulia Helena Augusta, was the daughter of an innkeeper. Many critics believe that she was a major source of influence of the Christian religion upon her son in his youth. She is credited with finding Christian relics and the true cross. It is said that Helena was placed on a mission to gather Christian relics by her son, and she traveled from Rome to Jerusalem to the site of Jesus' tomb near Calvary. She is said to have also recovered the nails of Christ's crucifixion and placed one in the helmet and on the bridle of Constantine's horse in order to aid him with their power. Constantine set out building a church for the apostles in Constantinople, which included a final resting place for himself. One Easter, Constantine became ill and left Constantinople for his mother's city of Helenopolis. While in church praying, he realized he was dying and began to study catechumen to become baptized. He decided to return to Constantinople, but only made his journey as far as Nicomedia, where he summoned the bishops and asked to be baptized in the river Jordan, where it is written, Christ was also baptized. Constantine died soon after. His body was transferred to Constantinople and buried in the Church of the Holy Apostles. Constantine was a powerful and politically savvy leader throughout his life. Born into privilege, he was able to learn and study with many cultures and perspectives. His knowledge and confidence gained him widespread popularity as he created an empire that was tolerant and free for both paganism and Christianity. Using his prowess, Constantine had an army and a nation that both loved and supported him, and he led a widely successful campaign, defeating his enemies in many battles until he became sole emperor of the Roman Empire. Because of his aptitude for gaining popularity through political strategy, it is speculative whether he actually ever fully embraced the Christian religion. There is no argument, however, against his incredible achievements that made Christianity the religion it is today. Without Constantine and his motivation to promote the religion, we would not live in the world we know today.